Animals that hibernate. A detailed exploration. Hibernation is a fascinating survival strategy that allows certain animals to endure periods of extreme cold or scarcity of food by significantly reducing their metabolic rate. This process can be observed in a range of species, from mammals to amphibians, reptiles, and insects. In this article, we will delve into the concept of hibernation, the animals that engage in it, and the physiological and ecological adaptations that make it possible. We will also explore the differences between hibernation and other forms of dormancy such as brumation and torpor, and discuss the critical role of hibernation in the survival of these animals. Understanding hibernation. Hibernation is commonly associated with cold-blooded or warm-blooded animals during winter months when temperatures drop and food becomes scarce. However, it is essential to differentiate hibernation from other types of dormancy such as brumation, a type of dormancy seen in reptiles, and torpor, a short-term state of decreased physiological activity. In true hibernation, an animal's metabolic processes, including heart rate, respiration, and body temperature, slow down drastically, allowing them to conserve energy. Hibernation typically lasts for an extended period, such as several weeks or even months. During this time, the animal enters a state of near-complete inactivity and survives primarily by utilizing the energy stored in its body. Not all animals hibernate in the same manner, and some species may go through cycles of hibernation, briefly waking up before returning to their dormant state. Animals that hibernate. 1. Bats. Order Chiroptera. Bats are among the most well-known hibernators. Several bat species, particularly those found in temperate regions, enter hibernation during the colder months. In the wild, bats may hibernate for anywhere between 2 to 6 months. Bats' hibernation typically occurs in caves, hollow trees, or abandoned buildings, where they seek cool and stable environments with high humidity. Bats reduce their body temperature, heart rate, and metabolic rate during hibernation. They often go into a state of torpor, which allows them to save energy by lowering their temperature to near that of the environment. One of the most famous hibernating bat species is the little brown bat, Myotis lucifugus, which can hibernate for up to 6 months in the winter. Some bat species also exhibit a form of social hibernation, clustering together in large groups to share body heat, which helps them conserve energy. 1. Ground squirrels, family. Sciuridae, ground squirrels, including the 13-lined ground squirrel, Ictydomys tritossemlineatus, and the Arctic ground squirrel, Uricetellus perryi, are well-known hibernators. These small rodents are found in North America, where they enter hibernation during the winter months when food is scarce. Unlike some hibernators, ground squirrels have a unique way of hibernating. They enter a state of torpor, in which their body temperature drops significantly, often to below freezing. During hibernation, their metabolism slows down to such an extent that they require very little energy to survive. The Arctic ground squirrel is one of the most extreme hibernators, capable of surviving months in temperatures as low as 18 degrees Celsius, 0 degrees Fahrenheit, by entering deep hibernation. Their heart rate can drop from 350 beats per minute to just 4 beats per minute, and their body temperature can approach that of the surrounding environment, preventing them from freezing. 1. Wood frogs, Rana sylvatica. Wood frogs are among the few amphibians that hibernate in freezing temperatures. They are commonly found in North America and are notable for their ability to survive being frozen during the winter. Wood frogs hibernate under the leaf litter, in the mud, or beneath logs, where they are protected from the harshest winter conditions. Their hibernation strategy is unique because they enter a state of frozen dormancy. Wood frogs can survive being partially frozen for several months, during which time their metabolic processes nearly come to a halt. When temperatures rise in the spring, the frog's body slowly thaws, and normal metabolic activity resumes. This extraordinary adaptation involves the production of cryoprotectants, substances that prevent ice from forming in the frog's cells, thus allowing them to endure freezing temperatures. 1. Hedgehogs, family. Erinaceidae. Hedgehogs are small, spiny mammals that are found in parts of Europe, Asia, and Africa. In temperate regions, hedgehogs enter hibernation during the cold winter months when food is scarce. Hedgehogs typically hibernate in nests they have created from leaves, grass, and other materials. During this time, their body temperature drops, and their metabolism slows significantly. Hedgehogs do not enter full torpor during hibernation, but they experience periodic waking spells. Their hibernation can last anywhere from 3 to 6 months, depending on the temperature and availability of food. A key feature of hedgehog hibernation is their ability to enter a deep, energy-saving state, with a reduced heart rate and respiration rate. However, unlike other animals, hedgehogs must have a sufficient amount of body fat to survive hibernation. They typically build up fat reserves during the autumn months before entering hibernation. 1. Snakes. Order. Schemata. Many species of snakes, particularly those in temperate regions, undergo a form of dormancy known as brumation, which is often mistakenly referred to as hibernation. While hibernation occurs in mammals and birds, brumation is a process more typical of reptiles. During brumation, snakes' metabolic rates drop, and they enter a state of dormancy in which they do not actively feed or move around much. However, unlike true hibernation, snakes may wake up intermittently to drink water or move around. Brumation usually occurs during the colder months, and snakes often seek out sheltered areas such as burrows, rock crevices, or other protected spaces to spend the winter. Some species of snakes, such as the eastern garter snake, Thamnophis sirtalis, may brumate for several months. 1. Bears. Family. Ursidae. Bears are one of the few mammals that undergo a form of hibernation, although it is not as extreme as that of smaller mammals like bats or squirrels. Bear hibernation is often referred to as winter dormancy, as their metabolic rate does not drop as drastically as other hibernators. During the winter months, bears enter dens, such as caves or hollowed-out trees, where they remain inactive for several months. Unlike other hibernators, bears do not experience a significant drop in body temperature. Their body temperature decreases slightly, but they remain relatively warm compared to other hibernating animals. While hibernating, bears survive on their body fat, which they accumulate in the months leading up to winter. They do not eat, drink, or urinate during this time. Interestingly, female bears give birth while in hibernation, and the cubs are born tiny, weighing just a few ounces. The mother will nurse her cubs while remaining in her den. 1. Chipmunks. Tamias spp. Chipmunks, small rodents in the squirrel family, also undergo a form of hibernation. These animals, particularly the eastern chipmunk, Tamias striatus, enter hibernation in the late fall and remain inactive throughout the winter. Chipmunks hibernate in burrows underground, where they maintain a relatively constant temperature. While in hibernation, their heart rate and body temperature drop significantly, and they may only wake up briefly to consume stored food or adjust their position. Chipmunks do not enter true, long-term hibernation like some other animals. Instead, they undergo a type of torpor, in which their body temperature drops to near freezing levels. The duration of hibernation for chipmunks typically ranges from 2 to 4 months, depending on the climate and available food resources. 1. Turtles. Order. Testudines. Many species of turtles, particularly those in temperate regions, enter a form of dormancy known as brumation during the winter months. Brumation is similar to hibernation but occurs in cold-blooded animals like reptiles. During brumation, turtles experience a significant reduction in metabolic activity and do not eat, drink, or move around much. Turtles may spend several months in a dormant state, often buried in the mud or under rocks to escape the freezing temperatures of winter. The box turtle, Terrapene carolina, for example, hibernates by burrowing into the soil and entering a deep state of dormancy. Turtles can survive this period without feeding because they rely on their energy stores. Like other reptiles, turtles' hibernation is dependent on external temperatures, and they will wake up when the environment warms up in spring. 1. Beetles and other insects. Many insects also undergo a form of dormancy to survive cold winters. While not technically hibernation, In the mammalian sense, this form of dormancy is similar to the metabolic slowdown seen in hibernators. Insects such as ladybugs, beetles, and crickets enter a state of dormancy during the colder months, usually hiding under leaves, bark, or in soil. During this time, their metabolic rate drops, and they survive on the energy they accumulated before the onset of cold weather. Some insects, such as the yellow woolly bear caterpillar, Spilosoma virginica, can survive freezing temperatures by producing antifreeze-like chemicals in their bodies. These adaptations allow them to remain alive until warmer temperatures return. Conclusion: hibernation is a remarkable strategy used by a wide range of animals to survive harsh environmental conditions, particularly cold winters when food is scarce. Whether it's the deep dormancy of the Arctic ground squirrel, the ability of wood frogs to survive freezing, or the extended torpor of bats, these hibernators have evolved extraordinary adaptations that enable them to endure extreme conditions. While mammals such as bears, ground squirrels, and hedgehogs may experience hibernation in different ways, they all share the essential characteristic of a dramatically reduced metabolic rate. This allows them to live off their fat reserves and survive until spring when food becomes more abundant. Hibernation is not just a fascinating natural phenomenon, but it is also a critical aspect of survival for many species. Understanding the complexities of hibernation offers insight into the remarkable ways animals adapt to their environments and ensures their survival even under the most extreme conditions.